Chapter 394, Sights in the Spirit World. Klein knew very well why Miss Justice was looking at him. Being aware of the Lanevis incident, she was certain that he had many conflicts, both in the open and in the shadows, between himself and the true creator, and that it was normal for him to have the corresponding items, perhaps even quite a few of them, in his possession. Logically speaking, there's nothing wrong with her thinking. In fact, I have crossed the true creator several times, and I do have an item that fits those descriptions. Klein sighed inwardly. There was no question about helping Little Sun. There were many monsters in the forsaken land of God, where the City of Silver was located, allowing the collection of several materials which were rare in the northern and southern continents. In addition, they had a contiguous history that wasn't distorted by any of the deities or churches. They gave the most objective stories and secrets prior to the cataclysm, and the knowledge involved was extremely valuable. Whether it was from the perspective of the Tarot Club's leader or simply considering his own interests, Klein had no intention of giving up Little Sun or the City of Silver unless it was hopeless. However, there were certain things which weren't suitable for Mr. Fool to voice out. Just as Audrey was looking expectantly at Mr. Fool, who was shrouded in a thick gray fog, the world, who had been silent all this time, finally opened his mouth. I have an item that contains the mental corruption of the true creator. He was referring to the all-black eye that Mariontis Resego had left behind. An item containing the mental corruption of the true creator? Alger thought as he organized his words. This might be able to help the Sun. Once those exploratory team members, whose thoughts and viewpoints have been warped, sense the mental imprint of the true creator, there's a high possibility that they will mutate right on the spot. The world looked at the Sun and laughed hoarsely. Kid, I can lend you that item, but what will you be using to pay for it? Having seen Hope, Derek's mind raced, suddenly remembering what had happened during previous gatherings, and quickly said, I can help you find the characteristics of the human-skinned shadow, the mutated pituitary gland and blood of a 1,000-faced hunter. I can also attempt to obtain the method to removing the mental corruption on an item left behind by a rampager. Whichever I get first will be used as payment. Out of all of the options, the human-skinned shadow was relatively easy to encounter. It was one of the scarier monsters in the depths of the darkness. At this moment, Derek wasn't considering whether the exchange was of equal value or not. Even though a one-time loan of an item contaminated by the true creator was obviously not worth as much as the conditions he put forward, under the current circumstances, he could grit his teeth and accept whatever high price the world offered. Thus, he might as well proactively show his sincerity. The world nodded slightly. Very good, I will ask for Mr. Fool's help to lend it to you. As he spoke, he revealed the shape of the all-black eye and added, it's the equivalent of a Sequence 5 Beyonder. If you lose it, you'll have to provide me with compensation. Also, as soon as this is over, return it to me. This was what Klein couldn't say in his capacity as the Fool. If a god-level existence like him kept harping about compensation and remember to return it to me, then the status he had built up for himself would have collapsed. In addition, Klein took into account the hidden dangers that lay in the future. The all-black eye and the other items were all things that he had used in the real world. If he were to bring in a new member who knew of this matter, they could confirm certain matters based on this point. Therefore, allowing Sherlock Moriarty to be equivalent to the world was clearly better than having Sherlock Moriarty be equivalent to the Fool. When your strength doesn't match your status, all I can do is tremble in fear, as if I were treading on thin ice or facing the abyss. Klein sighed silently. Seeing that Mr. Fool hadn't refused the world's request, nor did he point out any problems with the deal, Derek was relieved and quickly agreed to all the demands. At the same time, Audrey was genuinely happy for Little Sun. Alger thought for a while before letting out a sigh. He then said to the Sun in a measured tone, Don't be too optimistic. How to seize this opportunity still needs to be organized. First, you have to choose a time and, without putting yourself in danger, have only one exploratory team member be present while there are several City of Silver citizens, or when they're all in a quarantined and sealed state. You have to use a wall of spirituality to seal the vessel that stores the corrupted item ahead of time and not allow anyone to notice it. By doing that, you can control the development of the situation. In addition, you need to consider how to hide that item after it's over. You mustn't let the six-member council discover it, otherwise, you'll never be able to clear the suspicion on you. If such an easily deceived fellow were to die, it would be difficult for me to obtain any more information regarding the forsaken land of God or the secrets of the ancient era. The hanged man didn't find it problematic to offer help. Under his tutelage, Derek gradually had a complete plan and a few key points to take note of. "Thank you, Mr. Hanged Man. Thank you to all of you." He sincerely expressed his gratitude to every member in the gathering. This made Audrey feel the satisfaction of doing a good deed. The matter of the sun came to an end at this point, and Fours, who had witnessed it all, suddenly had an idea. She ruffled her slightly curled long hair and said, "I wish to know which family the apprentice pathway belongs to. I'm willing to use one of the chapters in the sites in the spirit world as a barter. Although the content is considered the ravings of a dreamer, many of the things described in it are true from my experiences into the spirit world." The Sights in the Spirit World was one of the mysticism notebooks that Mrs. Ollisa had left her. The logic of the content was incoherent, absurd, and just reading it alone left one irritable. However, when her body entered and left the spirit world 3 times for a variety of reasons, Fours discovered that the records in the notebook might not necessarily just be ravings. Sights in the Spirit World. Klein leaned back slightly as he controlled the world to answer before the hanged man. "I know the answer, and I can give you some of the corresponding information for free." He knew very well that the hanged man could also answer the magician's questions. It's bad to have competition, that's why you need to combine it with free gifts. Klein silently lampooned. All right, Fours felt a surge of joy. She discovered that the Tarot Club really was much more high-end than the other Beyonder circles that she had participated in before. Many difficult questions could be answered here. At this moment, the world asked in a low voice, "Do you want to hear the answer for yourself, or have everyone else hear it too?" Fours pondered for a few seconds, then caught Audrey and the others by surprise with her answer. "Just say it out here." In her opinion, the answers to her own questions were of little help to others, and it didn't matter if they found out. And if Mr. World had left something out, or gave an incomplete description, and someone else happened to know the corresponding content, then she would be able to use the same sites in the Spirit World chapter to obtain the full picture. She believed that it was more important that way. The world wasn't surprised and said in a low and hoarse voice, "In the 4th epoch, the apprentice pathway was wielded by the Abraham family. Later, it was spread to the Tamara family, which had been in marriage alliances with it for extended periods of time. In the 5th epoch, which is the present epoch, the Theosophy order also has the apprentice and trickmaster potion formulas. They're widely believed to be related to the Abraham and Tamara families. Of course, there are also people who suspect that the Theosophy order is actually a guise of the demoness sect. Considering that Miss Magician had already met with members of the Abraham family, Klein added via the world. It is said that the Abraham family has suffered a bloodline curse all this time. They have no choice but to take up residence separately from each other in order to avoid danger. Bloodline curse. Fours' eyes widened as she thought of her encounters. Mrs. Ollisa's husband belonged to the Abraham family, and that Mr. Lawrence is also a part of the Abraham family. Is that why she said that as long as one isn't a member of the family clan, they wouldn't suffer the curse? However, I used the bracelet, and it belongs to the Abraham family. Once again, regret gnawed at her soul. This was the first time that Alger and Audrey was hearing about the bloodline curse of the Abraham family. Both of them had their own thoughts, so no one spoke up for a short period of time. After a while, Fours took a deep breath and said, "Thank you, Mr. World. You have answered the biggest question I have. I will copy the first chapter of the sites in the spirit world after the end of this gathering and sacrifice it to Mr. Fool. Is that okay, Mr. Fool?" The magician is a descendant of the Abraham family. It's no wonder her body can enter and exit the spirit world. She likely possesses a corresponding mystical item. The Hanged Man suddenly looked at her. Fours is a member of the Abraham family. She was born in an ancient family dating back to the Fourth Epoch. Audrey nodded as if she was thinking about something. After receiving a positive reply from Mr. Fool, Fours relaxed and began mentioning her desire to buy the Beyonder ingredients, stomach pouch of a spirit eater and the blood of a deep-sea marlin. Unfortunately, the sun wasn't going out during this period of time, so there was nothing. As for the Hanged Man, he merely mentioned that he had clues to the deep-sea marlin's blood. No one had obtained the formula for the wind-blessed potion yet. On the other hand, Audrey wasn't in a hurry to purchase the psychiatrist formula because she was about to join the psychology alchemists. Klein originally wanted to sell either the werewolf Beyonder characteristic or biological poison bottle. But after considering the latter's compatibility with his spirit-body state and the current financial situation of the members, he temporarily gave up on that idea. The transaction segment quickly ended, and the gathering reached the stage where each of them could share information they had heard about. Audrey slowly looked around and said with a slight smile, "Last week, an interesting case happened in Backland. The protagonist is called the hero bandit Black Emperor.